Good afternoon, Mets fans, and welcome to a Thursday edition of Drivin with Mr. Met. This is my second attempt to record on Thursday, the 12th of December. And the reason it's my second attempt is because my first attempt was futile, because by the time I finished recording and then rendered the video, the announcement came out that the Mets had signed Porcello. So what I'm going to do now, instead of just talking about Michael Wacha, which I did earlier today, which you didn't get to hear, I'll include some of that in what I'm about to say now, and I'll add to that the news that Rick Porcello is now a Met, and what that means implication-wise with 40-man roster and the payroll going forward. It's been a mostly quiet winter meetings for the Mets. Up until yesterday, they really hadn't done very much of anything. But then, of course, yesterday, the announcement comes out in the afternoon that the Mets had signed, come to terms with former St. Louis Cardinal pitcher Michael Wacha for a $3 million one-year deal with $7 million in incentives, which means it could total up to $10 million for Mr. Wacha in 2020. So I that news comes out, and I immediately start thinking, boy, this means that the Mets are probably going to be out on Dellin Betances, because they're spending too much money now with Wacha, and of course, the only the $3 million counts against the luxury tax now, but assuming the $7 million incentives kick in, that means that Wacha's done well. I'm thinking, that's going to put the Mets really close. My initial reaction to the Wacha signing was like, okay, that's fine. He's an okay fifth starter, no problem. I don't like what it means about what they're going to do with the bullpen, because that definitely suggests they're not going to add much more. Yesterday, the Dodgers added Blake Treinen for $10 million. Treinen coming off of a down year and wanting to rebuild his brand, to reestablish himself as a viable major league reliever, to get himself a bigger contract in 2021, I assume. And, the Mets had been linked to Dellin Betances, and this means that if Treinen signed 1 year, $10 million, Betances is going to be in the same ballpark. So I'm kind of feeling like there's no way the Mets are going to be able to get Betances. Well, then, of course, the rumors start spreading. They're looking to move some guys that are under contract, and namely Jed Lowrie. And the A's were a name that was interested in that, in the Lowrie reunion, because, of course, Lowrie did play for the A's before he came to the Mets. And the problem with that is the Mets would have to eat a chunk of the $9 million they owe to Lowrie. So for 2020, here's the thing, and I'm thinking, okay, if they trade Lowrie, if they move Lowrie, they get some of that salary off the books. It does free up more money to acquire a Betances figure, whatever. Then this morning, surprisingly, and I was very shocked, the Mets went out and signed Rick Porcello, former Cy Young winner in the American League, just 2-3 years ago. Again, coming off of a down year. Last year he was pretty bad. Porcello was, but he's getting $10 million, assuming he passes his physical. And now my head is really spinning. Like, what is this going to mean for the not only the payroll, but also for the 40-man? Because this now fills up the 40-man roster to its capacity. There are 40 men on it. There can't be any more unless someone's removed. The salary situation, the contract or payroll situation rather, is dangerously close to the $208 million luxury tax threshold. There's a really cool Google Doc that I'm going to share in the information below on this YouTube video. That I'll link to it, and I think it's Christopher Soto who keeps the document. If I'm getting the name wrong, I'm sorry, but it's an awesome document. It's a great resource because it lists who's under contract going forward for the Mets, what they're owed, and what the implications are going against the luxury tax. And right now, with Porcello being added rather for 2020, they're at like $206.8 million. The Mets are. As far as what their 2020 salary is. So that gives them about $1.5 million, a little less than $1.5 million to go out and sign more bullpen arms. And let me do just a really quick rough math on this. Carry the one. Nobody who's good is going to sign for $1.5 million or less, and the Mets need more than one body in that bullpen. I don't think anyone can argue that. The most glaring deficiency from last year, as I've said repeatedly, was the bullpen. So you bring back Brad Brach. I got to stop saying that. Brad Brach is going to be in the bullpen in 2020. Got him for cheap. That's $850,000. You've got room for one more of those. That means Dellin Betances isn't going to happen, unless, of course, the rumors that are being floated around now today are true. And some of the rumors we're hearing is, in addition to the Mets looking to shed some salary with players that they already have on the roster, they're also exploring the possibility of a trade with the Houston Astros for Carlos Correia, which is intriguing for certain. You know, the Astros need a pitcher. Having the sixth starter or six starting pitchers, with an asterisk, of course, because we don't know if they're going to all be healthy. But having six starting pitchers is not really how you want to start the season, especially if you've promised both of the new guys, and Porcello and Wacha, that they're going to be starting. If that's the case, then the Mets have to figure out what to do with the extra body. And if that's Steven Matz, perhaps he's included in a deal with the Astros, where the Mets get Mets have to package more people with this to get Correia. But Carlos Correia is an interesting name. Certainly plays shortstop. That means that Ahmed Rosario might be on the block here as part of this trade, or they think about maybe playing Correia at third. I don't know. So this adds a level of intrigue now that I think had been missing up to this point in the offseason so far for the Mets. It's been kind of business as usual up to now, where things weren't very exciting. This monkey wrench with Porcello signing after Wacha signing, and now the news that the Mets are considering moving a starting pitcher. Could it be Noah Syndergaard? Could Noah Syndergaard be on the move? I know that Brody said he ain't going anywhere. They're keeping him. He'll be a Met next year. But let's also not forget, Brody is saying what he has to say to appease the fans and to appease his ownership group, and to frankly appease his players. I don't know that we can take everything that comes out of his mouth as truth. In fact, he's kind of proven the opposite to be true. So maybe Noah Syndergaard's name is going to be included in this package deal with the Astros, where the Mets get Carlos Correia back in the deal. I don't know. We'll see. It's all I'm saying now is that my podcast, my broadcast this morning rather, ended with me saying I'm probably not going to come back tomorrow, me being Friday, because I don't know that anything's going on. Because I figured, look, the Mets got their starter. They don't have any money. They're not going to make any splashes with relievers. Now, I don't know what the hell. So I will probably be back tomorrow, because I suspect between now and then, some stuff's going to happen, whether it means the Mets have shed some salary or they've made a move. I don't know. We'll find out. But I will be paying very close attention to it over the next few hours. And if there's news that's breaking and worth talking about, I'm going to come back tomorrow morning and talk about it. So until then, which I, again, expect to be tomorrow morning, I thank you for watching. If you're not already following me on Twitter, you can do so at Mr_Met. That's MISTER_MET. And as always, let's go Mets.